Welcome to the Teacher's Compass podcast. I'm your host, Louise Schwartz, a former teacher turned entrepreneur, and I'm here to offer guidance, direction and practical support for teachers and teaching assistants who are feeling overwhelmed and questioning their place in education. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Teacher's Compass podcast. First of all, I need to apologise for so many months' worth of radio silence on the podcast. But do you know what? Life's just got in the way over the last few months. I was doing ever so well up until about March, and then my husband had a second heart attack, which has kind of just thrown the family a little bit, and it's taken us a little bit of time to just find our new normal and get back to life again since that's happened. Hey, that's what we're used to as teachers, isn't it? Curveballs being thrown at us and we deal with it and we move on. Today, we are talking about how you recognise those signs of burnout before they get to a point where you really need to consider doing something about it. We all know, don't we, that teaching, inevitably, you're going to come home and you're just going to say, I'm tired, I'm exhausted, oh my gosh, I've got so much to do. But actually, burnout is more than that. It's more than just feeling tired. And honestly, I didn't believe that until I've been through it myself. So I don't even think I realised how far into a spell of burnout I'd got until I look back on it now. So now life is so much different than it was sort of 2 years ago, 18 months ago. But actually, looking back to that time, I don't think I quite realised how bad it was and how far it had got before I started to do something about it. So what I wanted to do was share some of those things that I've experienced to help you to recognise if you're in that position of burnout, and then give you some tips on what you might be able to do to help yourself out of that position and just keep moving forward and have a more positive outlook on life again. So I think this word burnout gets bandied around the media quite a lot. And I think for teachers, it's like I've said before, it's more than just tiredness, isn't it? You know in your mind that everything you're doing is for those children and you're going to do it regardless of the position that puts you in personally. So you're just going to keep going, keep moving forward, and honestly keep throwing yourself into all of these things that need to be done without any regard for your own health. That's physical and mental health. How do we as teachers keep doing the amazing job that we're doing without getting to that point ourselves where we just can't keep going anymore? And we know that if something doesn't change, then we're going to be in a really sticky position. Some of the signs that I can look back on now and recognise were there aren't necessarily ones that I realised at the time were signs and symptoms of burnout. So the first one for me was more than just tiredness. It was literal physical exhaustion. I woke up in the morning just feeling like I couldn't get my body out of bed. I was so exhausted, tired, fatigued, just mentally drained. I had to drag myself out of bed for a long time before I actually realised that is not normal. And so if you're really struggling in the morning to actually physically get yourself out of bed, have a think about what's going on in your life and some changes that you might be able to make that would support your tiredness improving. Because we all know, don't we, there's tiredness and there's tiredness. There's teacher tired. Teacher tired is another level, but burnout tired is beyond that. For me, like I said, I could not drag myself out of bed. And it had got to the point where even at a weekend, when I wasn't getting up to go to school, even at a weekend, I couldn't get out of bed until mid-morning, which that doesn't really help for your family life, does it? And if you're, a teacher like me that's nice and busy and does lots of things, I wanted to spend my weekend doing things that I enjoyed, things with my family, things with my friends, and I couldn't even drag myself out of bed to do that. So keep an eye out for that fatigue, that absolute exhaustion that means you can't get out of bed in the morning. Now, if you're a mum as well as a teacher like I am, you know that sometimes we have a very short fuse and our patience is tested morning, noon and night with not only the children at school but also our own kids as well. I was finding that I was getting really snappy and really quick to raise my temper and get cross, shout, and be not a very nice person. I'm not naturally an aggressive person. I'm just a nice, kind, friendly, approachable person. But I was finding that I was getting to the point where it was really difficult to bite my tongue and not snap back at somebody immediately after somebody had said something to me, particularly if it was a demand on my time. So if somebody was asking me to do something, I just felt like my initial reaction was to snap back and get really kind of short with somebody. That sort of took its toll a little bit on my kids because they're all teenagers now, and obviously teenagers are quite demanding, probably more so than toddlers. They're always wanting you to take them places and give them lifts and can you just do this and can you do that. Having the children at school demands so much of me that I would get home and I would have absolutely no patience left with my own family. Now, to me, that balance is completely out of sync. Yes, we know that the children at school require a lot of your attention and your patience, but that shouldn't come at the expense of your family at home. So family and friends around you deserve the best of you. And if you are getting to the point where you are tired, irritable, and snapping at everybody for everything, then we definitely need to have a look at how we can reassess our boundaries and our commitments to ensure that life at home is equally as happy as life at school. I'd gotten to a point in my career where everything revolved around school. I am the sort of person, I'm a really creative person, and I love to meet up with other people. I like doing crafty things. I like socialising, and I had gotten to the point where I wasn't doing any of that. Now, I think COVID had probably had an impact on that as well, because obviously we were limited with activities and things that we could do, but I'd found that nothing brought me joy anymore. I wasn't doing anything in my daily life that was really making me happy. I just felt on this constant treadmill of demand. People wanting my time, people wanting my attention. Nothing that I was doing was for me. And then I became a bit resentful because I wasn't giving myself time to do what I wanted to do and enjoy my life and enjoy what I was doing. I was just being pulled in so many different directions by so many different other people. So it's really key that you prioritise doing things for you. Don't feel guilty about that. Don't feel selfish about putting yourself first. It's absolutely necessary. I've talked again about this gas mask analogy, haven't I? You've got to put your own gas mask on first. So that's what you need to do. Give yourself some time, some space to do things that you enjoy, that make you happy, because you will be a much happier person. Now, in 2024, I'd handed my notice in before February half term so that I could leave at Easter. And between January and Easter, I think I had a total of 4 weeks off school with illnesses. I could not get well. I seemed to just be picking up every single bug that was going around school. I got a viral infection which was affecting my ears, so then that was affecting my balance. I was feeling dizzy and nauseous, and I just couldn't shift this bout of illness that had come across me. I tried to go back to school twice, and twice got sent home again, and you're still not well, go home. But as teachers, we keep battling, we keep fighting, and we just keep putting ourselves on that line and keep going. My body had got to the point where it was saying enough. Physically, that was a trigger that was telling me, you need to stop. You need to give yourself some space, give yourself some time and get well again so that you can kind of keep going. There's a really popular phrase, isn't there? If you don't decide a time to rest, your body will decide it for you. And that was exactly where I'd got to. My body was saying to me, enough is enough. You need to stop, you need to rest, you need to recharge. And that came in the form of several illnesses, several trips to the doctors, and weeks of recovery time. I don't even think when I finished Easter, I was still fully fit. It took me another few months after that, in my new job role, in my working from home role, to be able to relax and rest and recharge. So don't think that giving yourself one day off, if you're at that point of burnout, is going to improve things, because it won't. It takes time, it takes dedication to looking after yourself to get yourself back fully fit. Now, I said I really love to socialise. I am a chatterbox. And if you know me personally, you will know that I am always the person that stood there nattering, and I'll say, oh, I've really got to go now. And then 2 hours later, I'm still sitting there talking and I really should have gone already. So that is just who I am. I just love chatting with people. But in the middle of that spell of burnout and anxiety, I had stopped doing that. I'd stopped going out. I was avoiding meeting up with friends, and I was just not the person that I am now and was before. It changed me, and I don't think I realised, because it crept up on me gradually, don't think it realised I'd got to the point where I was deciding not to do things and making a conscious decision not to do things that actually I really enjoy and that are part of who I am. So why is it important that we spot all of these signs and symptoms? Well, sometimes those people around us don't always recognise that these symptoms are brought on by work, brought on by stress at school, that is changing who you are and what you enjoy doing. So we've got to be aware of these things ourselves. You need to look at you, your life, your happiness, and what you're doing day to day. And if that's not bringing you joy, you are the one that needs to change. So figure out what it is that you enjoy doing, what you like to do in your spare time as a human being, not as a teacher. Take that label away. Who are you? What do you enjoy doing? And make sure that you do some of those things every single week to try and avoid getting to the point where I was, where you don't want to do anything at all. So feel free to drop me a note in the comments and tell me one thing that you're going to do this week that's for you. Something you enjoy that you're going to set some time aside for, that you are going to do. I'll tell you one thing I'm doing this week. I'm going to a choir rehearsal. Now, usually I'm the person that's conducting the choir, leading the choir, but I'm going along with a friend to a choir locally, and we're going to go and have a sing-song. So that's something I absolutely love doing. I sing all the time. So I'm really looking forward to going to this choir rehearsal and just having some fun and singing and enjoying myself. Now, if you're worried about any of these signs and symptoms and you really think that you might be heading towards a bit of a crash and that this burnout is going to be taking over, I've created a quick quiz. It's literally a couple of minutes. Have a look at it. The link is in the description. Take the quiz, and then once the answers come through in the email, I'll be able to offer you some personalised advice on how you can make some changes and get out of this sticky position that you're in. Know that these things aren't permanent. No period of time is ever permanently like it is. It changes all the time. Okay, feelings and emotions, they come in waves. And yes, whilst one day we might be really kind of down in the dumps, fed up, not knowing what's going on in life, actually we can change that. Just know that there are things that you can do to live a happier, more positive life. And if you make that change now, just think about where you might be this time in a few months. I've been doing a lot of reminiscing these last few weeks, because this is the second year that I haven't gone back to school in September, and it feels still really strange. But if I look back to where I was this time last year, I've grown, I've changed, and I am so different to how I was last year. And that's because I've been taking the time to look after myself and put myself first without feeling selfish. So I would encourage you to do the same and take that time for yourself. Thanks so much for listening. and I'll talk to you again soon.
Thanks so much for tuning in to the Teacher's Compass podcast. If you found this episode helpful, click on the link in the show notes for more resources and support. Don't forget to leave a review on whichever app you choose to listen to us on. Your feedback helps us to reach more teachers just like you. See you next time.